Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Apple Box Chronicles. My name is Peyton Buto.
And I'm Adrian Thomas.
And today on the ABCs, we are taking you from A to Z on Osgood Perkins' Keeper, as well as his, let's just say, Neon trilogy, the 3 movies that he made for Neon to distribute. We now have all 3.
Yeah,
I believe it was a 3-picture deal.
It was super quick turnaround because Longlegs came out last year, The Monkey came out earlier this year, and then The Keeper came out just last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yep, and so here we are. We're going to talk about them because this is quite an interesting set of films, quite an interesting director. I would like to say I haven't seen Gretel and Hansel or The Blackcoat's Daughter, unfortunately, at this time, because we're only really going to talk about these 3 movies.
I've only seen Gretel and Hansel, but I haven't seen Blackcoat's Daughter or the other one that he did.
Yeah, I would like to see those, and I definitely will.
Yeah, just to see what else he's got.
Yeah, maybe that would be some helpful context. But for now, I just think Osgood is interesting as a filmmaker. I think he has a lot of voice from his personal experiences he's throwing into these films. I think he's very funny. I think he can be scary, and there's definitely some really scary parts in some of these movies. But the balance is sometimes kind of strange.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's important to talk about these movies in kind of context of one another to kind of see what works and what doesn't. Even though, I mean, to his credit, these are all pretty different. And they're all, like, none of them are horrible or bad or anything, I think.
I wouldn't say so, no.
So I think, like, 3 decent movies, some of them better than others, back to back to back this quickly. I mean, not everyone could do that. I feel like there is a lot of talent behind these films. But yeah, we're going to, I guess, get into our honest thoughts. What do you think about Osgood Perkins?
Well, just if you guys don't know, Osgood Perkins is the son of Anthony Perkins, who plays Norman Bates in Psycho. That's what Anthony Perkins is most famous for. But he's been throughout Hollywood, classic golden age of Hollywood for quite a while, and he's made a pretty lasting impact on cinema. And so Osgood is kind of taking that name and doing something different with the horror genre, I guess. But I think the problem with his movies aren't even his movies themselves, but the marketing of his movies, because his movies actually have pretty good marketing, but
sometimes too good.
And sometimes too good, but I think it's also false advertisement as well. It's great marketing, but false advertisement, because with each movie, it almost seems like whenever a trailer comes out or there's hype around it, it's kind of marketing something that the movies really aren't.
It's doing a bit of... I think it makes them feel more scary and, as you put it, important than they are. As well as the fact that, like, I'm not even saying that someone couldn't get the response emotionally to the way that these are marketed. Like, if Longlegs was marketed to be, like, the scariest fucking thing of all time, and it was, like, kind of... that marketing is kind of famous.
I also think the way they could have fixed this is the movie order. I think if The Monkey came out first, I think that would have been better in terms of how people would respond to The Keeper and Longlegs as well. Because people would be like, okay, he's really silly. This is some crazy cartoonish stuff happening right now, but it also has this kind of this morbid style to it, and it's kind of dark but also really funny. And then you get into movies like The Keeper and you're like, okay, I see what he's doing. And then you get to Longlegs and you're like, oh, this is actually, I understand what he's doing fully at this point. And I think if you went in kind of that order, or maybe The Monkey, Longlegs, and Keeper, I think that the audience would be more prepared for what he's actually bringing to the table, instead of just saying, oh, he's the scariest filmmaker of our time right now. And
well,
it's like not really the case.
Here's the problem with that, because this is the conflict with marketing. you people they want to build a name for him so that when those other two films come out, people will see them just on that. Because the thing is, the Monkey and Keeper,
they're not
it's
considered
not
great.
yes, but it's also not like as heavily marketable or like for Longlegs, you have Nicolas Cage. You have Nicolas Cage, Mike Monroe, and you can not to say Tatiana Maslany and Theo James aren't great. It's just they're not as like
with the Monkey. You could have just sold it on the premise that it's based on a Stephen King.
Sure, but with
it would have worked.
But with Longlegs, it's like you can hide Nicolas Cage's face in all the marketing, and people will just want to go see what he fucking looks like straight up.
I mean, that's why Longlegs was like so popular, because there was such a big hype around what is this movie? What's it about? It looks kind of strange. It kind of looks like a serial killer, but it also looks like a horror movie thing going on. But
yeah, it's like
really
a horror police procedural.
It was hard to really figure out what they were doing, but that was what made it so interesting.
Also, we're going to be spoiling all of these movies.
Yeah.
So I guess from there, we could kind of just get into Longlegs.
Yeah.
This movie was very exciting for me when it came out. We saw it with a bunch of friends. We were
all pretty hyped up.
Yeah, most people liked it. And me and you were like, actually, and this is so, I guess it's not terribly rare. This is not terribly rare for us because I feel like we are usually pretty aligned on stuff. But for us to be in a big group and you and me to be the outliers, usually we kind of all have a balanced.
So usually it's us two that are like, no, this movie's great. You guys don't get it.
That's it. Yeah.
It was the other way around. It's where everybody else is like, oh, Longlegs is great, and we were both kind of like, it's okay. We like.
I said it was solid.
Yeah, it's a solid movie, but we weren't like blown away by it.
Yeah, and man, like it was kind of a letdown in that way. Because, like, we both said this, no, the movie was funnier than it was scary.
Yeah.
And there is kind of there is just so much imagery and things in the movie that are scary, but, like, I think the best way I've ever heard it described, and this was not an original thought from me, is that the movie kind of leads you to believe that, and this is kind of what the marketing does too, the movie kind of leads you to believe that Longlegs has like a moral or message or something for the world, and that's why he's doing what he's doing, and there's like something, and I'm not saying the movie itself doesn't have a message, but the character of Longlegs, like you expect him to kind of reveal something important, and then it turns out he's just kind of like a sadist.
Yeah, and he just he's a Satan worshiper,
and that's cool and stuff. But it's like the kookiness of that character. Maybe that's like the point, is that he's trying to kind of make the filmmaking like antithetical to like that character, and see how all like, you know, this thing is like taken so seriously and everyone's like overthinking it, you know, and then really ultimately that's how I guess he wins in the end.
I think also part of it was that it is pretty supernatural.
Yeah.
In movies like this, the whole scary part about these types of movies is that they're like usually serial killers, and serial killers are real and they're out there, and like that's what's scary. For instance, Silence of the Lambs and Seven were huge inspirations for this movie. Osgood Perkins has mentioned them multiple times when talking about this movie, and those movies are based more in reality, on like scary people doing scary things. This one, the movie kind of starts off where you believe that's the case. He's another serial killer who's finding ways to have these families being killed without actually being present. Super cool idea and premise. But then as the movie goes on, you find out, oh, this is more supernatural. There's bigger things that are happening, like basically Satan's involved with it, and which is like, oh, this is interesting. But it's not the type of movie that we were led to believe, and even not the movie that the movie itself was getting inspiration from. Like, there's a lot of great FBI procedural movies out there, like Fincher's great at them with Seven and Zodiac.
Seven is an inspiration for this, for sure.
Yeah, and Zodiac's great, and obviously Silence of the Lambs is all over this movie. Like, just from the fact that it's a young agent who's trying to figure this out, and she's got the mentor, and it relies heavily on those inspirations, but it doesn't take. I think it takes more of a stylistic inspiration rather than, I don't know, story inspiration.
Yeah,
that's where he really comes in, is gives it that almost goofy, silly, campy even take on it, when it should be a bit more grounded and serious.
Right. I do like the Lee Harker character that Micah Monroe plays, and how she's got this kind of intuition about her that's a little like more. I guess she's very talented in that way. She has this like special intuition, and
also I think there's a few references to like Dracula.
Yeah,
like Harker is the name of Thomas Harker. I think it's from Nosferatu.
It might be Dracula or Nosferatu.
It's one of
them.
Two,
yeah, I think it might be like the Keanu Reeves character in Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola one.
No, it's Hutter. Hutter is in, I think.
Nosferatu is Hutter, yes.
Yeah. So Harker is Dracula.
Yeah, I think so. So in this one, Micah Monroe, she has this like intuition. I feel like there is something here in terms of, there's a lot of religious subtext to the movie. There's a lot of stuff about the things that like childhood trauma. Sure, and the way that dolls are used in the movie. Like, I think that her being so kind of deadpan for a lot of it, and it's because she has these things that she is suppressing, that she's not processed, and that come about in this case. And so in a way she is kind of a doll herself, because I think she's in a way being used the same way through the movie. I think that's all really cool. Yeah. And I think a rewatch did help this movie. I liked it a little more.
Yeah, I mean, I just recently rewatched it too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, just the other day I just kind of put it on. It was more in the background than anything, but I just wanted to like kind of refresh myself a little bit on it. And it's there's a lot of great little details, and this is what Osgood Perkins is really good at. Is like the small fine details in the way the movie looks, and visually his movies are always great to look at. But there's every once in a while you'll see like Satan like in the background hiding, and it's all over that movie. Like,
it's all over it and you don't notice it the first time.
So I just thought that was just a fun little thing that he did with it. I mean, I feel like more directors need to put more detail in the background of their films. Like Ari Aster does that all the time.
Yeah,
Spielberg does that every once in a while too.
I actually really saw this recently. People have been talking about this because the Moana live action teaser trailer came out, and everything is centered. And well, in this movie everything's centered too, which is actually funny. There's actually a match cut between Nicolas Cage's face and a doll mask face, and that was something that Osgood found in the edit. Yeah. But it's because everything is so centered in the frame that you can find match cuts like that pretty easily. Anyway, the point is, everything is centered in the Moana trailer so that all the most important information is right there for you to see. Like, and I think in this movie it's done intentionally because it wants you to look in the middle and miss those things like Satan in the background and miss, like, because that's almost what the characters are doing. They're like being too much of a straight shooter about it, and they're not really seeing the bigger picture of what's going on. And movies that let your eyes and reward your eyes wandering around the frame and actually seeing and picking up on those details. Edgar Wright's great at this. We just talked about Running Man last week. But like movies that really reward you for actually seeking things out in the frame, in the image, and make those details happen are really cool.
I always love watching a horror movie and just not looking at what the movie wants you to see. It's like horror movies try to be like a magician sometimes. Where it's like, look over here, everything's happening over on the left side of the screen, but what I'm always going to look at is the right side of the screen, because I'm like, what are they doing here? Right. Sometimes it doesn't actually do anything. It's just a stylistic thing, but you'll get a few gems every once in a while where it's like, oh, there's something in the background. Yeah. Which happens a lot in Longlegs, which is kind of fun.
Right. And so I think here he's actually using the fact that that's what most people are going to look at is the center, and he's using that to hide things in plain sight.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the time, a lot of films, unfortunately, are being made now, especially, big blockbuster IP movies like that are being made also so that they can make the trailer for iPhone vertical and make all the important stuff in the middle.
Oh, man, that's rough.
Yeah. It's
true. I never even thought of that.
No, it's true. I saw someone talk about this, and I was like, wow, that's probably true. They're just trying to make it fit that TikTok aspect ratio with everything. And so it's unfortunate, and it's like movies are being made to be consumed in the way that people know they're going to be consumed, which is just like the least respectable thing.
Something I also saw, which was really interesting, was because there was a lot of backlash on that one clip that's been going around for the new Stranger Things season, where it's Millie Bobby Brown just like running through doing some sort of practice, and it's very cutty, and it doesn't look great to a lot of people. And someone kind of put it side by side with Mad Max Fury Road, which is also very cutty, but it looks good. And the reason why it looks good is because in that movie, a lot of the stuff is centered as well. So when you're cutting really fast and everything,
it's matching.
Your eyes can match up, and you're not like looking all over the frame when it's super fast. In that case, that works whenever you want something that's edited really fast, but you don't want to distract the audience by like being like, what is going on right now?
Right.
But I just wanted to mention that because I don't love whenever movies are centered either. And that's part of the reason why I do think this movie looks good, but I don't love that everything always looks so centered in this movie.
I wish it would subvert it a little more often, because I get the intent too.
But whenever there is intent in it, then I appreciate it a bit more in terms of like, Mad Max Fury Road, or even in this movie with why it's being centered very much instead of kind of being more experimental with like where you're going to place the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Longlegs, it's a fine movie. I just think it's a bit overhyped. I do think Nick Cage is both the best thing about it and the worst thing about it.
Well, because he's the funniest, he's like so much like energy is brought to the movie from him, and he's such a fun character to watch, but he also is kind of like so different than you'd expect.
It distracts from how menacing he's supposed to be. Like, I can't take him I can't like seriously consider him as being a creepy serial killer type because he's Nick Cage. Unfortunately,
I
feel like he could have, but I also think Osgood Perkins, when it comes to him directing actors, he just lets them do their thing, and he will go to any extremes with them if they want to, which can be really good. Like, for instance, and we'll get to this in Keeper, I think Tatiana Maslany's really good in it.
Yeah,
she's almost too good for the movie, and I think that's one thing I do like about Osgood Perkins is that he'll go into different cool places with the acting style of some characters. But when it came to Nick Cage, I think it's because it's Nick Cage. He's like, go all out, do whatever you want. I'm not gonna rail you in because you're Nick Cage.
Maybe.
But I think Nick Cage is always the best when he is railed in, like in Pig or
Mandy.
Yeah, when he's like kind of subverting his cageisms, I think that's when he's the best for me personally. I know a lot of people love him whenever he's on the opposite, when he's like going totally crazy, like in like Face Off or some of his earlier 90s movies.
I don't know. I love him in Longlegs. I just think I think the point is that he's actually not the thing they're supposed to be really looking at. It's the mom character, and she is actually very, very good in the movie too. Very creepy.
I wasn't a huge fan of how much they made her look so unwell. It was almost more distracting than her actual performance. But she was fine. I thought she was fine. And then also the thing about Nick Cage, and I guess this is, like you're saying, kind of a distraction by making him so out there and so like obvious. I think subtlety could have also worked a bit more
there. There's just a discrepancy between the very, very like sophisticated tactile kind of filmmaking style and like the tone and the content of the movie, where it kind of feels like it wants to be like, I think this might even be on purpose, and it just doesn't work for me personally. Yeah. Like it's just the way that it wants to kind of be this like intense police procedural mystery box kind of like movie where you're understanding the serial killer and you're learning things about it and catching onto these patterns, and then on the other side of that, you just have the serial killer just so kooky, and like it kind of wants to be a little sillier, and I just don't know if the combination works too well in this one, but it does maybe work better here than in Keeper.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I think my problem, and I think I just figured this out with Osgood Perkins, for me personally, is that he's too exaggerated on the things that I think he should be more subtle with, and vice versa.
Okay.
I just think he likes and focuses more on things that are really weird and strange and silly and kooky, and I think that's what he's really into. But he also kind of wants it to have a certain style about it that's very like, and I hate this expression, but it feels like he's trying to do elevated horror, like that, like prestige horror type, but it's not. It's
maybe that's kind of the idea. Maybe like he's trying to almost satirize it, like
it's
make
possible,
it.
But also there's that one thing where he was talking about where people, I think it was in an interview or something, where they were asking him about if he saw like Hereditary or something. He was like, "No, I don't watch any like horror movies nowadays or whatnot," which is a bit disappointing because I don't like when filmmakers aren't watching movies. I feel like if you're a filmmaker, that's, other than making movies, your other job is to be watching movies and like figuring out like
taking that inspiration.
Yeah,
I mean, some people just want to roll with their own, which is fine. But like you're you know, if you love movies, why aren't you watching movies?
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, Longlegs, solid.
Yeah, it's
good.
It's fine. I think it is a bit overhyped, but it's not a bad movie by any means.
Yeah, and then we get into The Monkey, which is, I think, also, again, we're kind of on the same wavelength. We both walked out of this really liking it when we saw it together. And it was just surprising. Everybody else fucking hated it. And we were like, no, this one's good.
Yeah.
And I still stand by that. I think this movie has, like, because it's not trying to, I guess, balance too many different things.
I think this movie is well balanced. I think that's
very well balanced. It's literally just locked in on being absurd, cartoonish, having insane gore and kills. Yeah, the VFX can suffer in some points because of that, but sometimes that's kind of like fun. Because it's so ridiculous. It's a lot like Final Destination, and yet at the same time, this is a personal movie, and I think Longlegs is probably also a personal movie. I just would have to think on that more.
Yeah,
but
probably the whole childhood trauma thing.
Yeah, there's something there that I'm not equipped to speak about.
Because
I
mean, The Monkey also has to deals with childhood trauma.
Yeah, but it deals with death head on,
yeah.
And the idea of death, I think, is very interesting to Osgood Perkins, because if you don't know this, so his dad was Anthony Perkins, who died of, I believe, pneumonia as caused by AIDS.
Yeah,
and his mother died in 9/11.
Yeah, so pretty awful.
Pretty awful, like, almost, it seems almost nonsensical and sudden and very, like...
almost absurd. It's like, not only does your dad die basically of AIDS, and then your mom dies from 9/11. That's why The Monkey's so great, because it deals with the fact that death, as morbid and as sad as it could be, is also bizarre. And sometimes it puts you in weird places where you're like, I can't believe that someone died because of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes it great, is because a lot of people want to put death on like this pedestal of being like, it has to be serious, it has to be it has to make you feel sad, obviously. But sometimes it's like, that's crazy, that's weird, and that's kind of funny how that person died, or that's kind of interesting how that person died. And as unfortunate as it is, that's the reality of the world as well. And I think The Monkey's funny in the fact that it pushes that idea that, because people are dying left and right in that movie, and they're dying from insane circumstances, and I think that's just a way for Osgood Perkins to be like, is to kind of grieve in a way, and kind of understand his own parents' death, and how, as unfortunate it is kind of crazy that his mom died in 9/11 of all things, and his dad died of AIDS, which I mean makes sense, since Anthony Perkins was I think he was closeted. I don't think it was like well known.
I'm not sure.
I'm not 100% sure either, but I think this movie is more of a way more personal in him discovering like how he feels about death itself.
And also the fact that there's two brothers in the movie that are twins, that are both having very different perspectives and reactions to this sort of thing. It's almost like him in conversation with himself, kind of reconciling how he feels about death. I feel like this is a movie that probably like was healing to make for him.
Yeah.
And it's so great that it's like this fun, like really silly movie as well. Sometimes that helps. Like it helps to kind of I guess examine the absurdity of what you feel is so tragic in your life, and be like, but isn't this crazy? Like,
yeah.
And it's like a beacon for other people who might have gone through similar things with people that they love who have passed away. So it's I think it's really solid. I think it really has a lot of just funny moments in it. Like,
it's fun. It's good.
It's so hilarious, and I don't know, just consistently remember laughing in the theater. Like,
also, Frodo Baggins is in the movie.
Frodo Baggins. I thought it was. Oh, is Elijah Wood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember,
for some
he's
reason,
like
I thought it was Sean Astin, like just from memory. But I think I was just thinking of the wrong Lord of the Rings actor. I don't know why.
No,
but no, it is Elijah Wood in the movie.
Yeah, I think people probably went in this movie thinking, oh, he did Longlegs, so this is going to be a bit more on the maybe serious side, but it's way more of a cartoon. It's like a Looney Tunes movie.
It was marketed, I think, correctly in that way. People just didn't like it because they wanted more horror, I think.
Probably. I don't know. I like The Monkey.
I think people were weird about this movie.
Yeah.
Like, when it came out, people were like, the editing sucks, and like criticizing all these things. I'm like...
Editing?
Yeah, they said it was poorly edited. All this... Bro, it's fine. The editing is fine. Yeah. Like, people... a friend of mine who's in the industry made a video the same, like, around this time, and he was like, reminder, nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, no, and I say this all the time. We were talking about it in the last podcast. We were just like, nobody knows how to talk about movies these days. They just yap because they want to put their ideas out there,
now,
but they're not actually thinking. Or
I'm not saying I'm above this.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, there's just this sense of, I guess, entitlement of like, I know better than you, sort of thing, while at the same time it's like, no, like at the core of it, I mean, all we have is our opinion and our reaction to the thing, but we shouldn't be like, oh, this is trash, because just like trashing on it completely. You have to at least, I think, leave a little bit of openness for the idea that maybe this movie is just not for you. Maybe you just didn't like the point it was going for. Maybe you kind of just didn't. You're just not on the wavelength that the filmmaker was on, and they maybe made it for them and not you.
Yeah.
Or for, like, there's just a sense of entitlement, like, oh, every movie's supposed to cater to me and my interests and what I like and what I want it to be about and what I expected from it, and it's not always the case.
Yeah.
It's very much like I just think when you go to the movies, I think it's like an act of openness. It's like, okay, I'm going to surrender myself to this thing for like 2 hours and let it, and just hear it out,
Yeah.
And then maybe I don't like it, maybe I do, but it's like you form that kind of relationship with it.
Again, movies are like paintings. At a museum, you go in and you have to try to figure out like what was the artist, what were they trying to do, what were they trying to say, and sometimes it speaks to you and sometimes it doesn't. Doesn't mean that just because you don't like Mona Lisa, you think that Da Vinci had like better paintings. Doesn't mean that it's not like obviously a lot of people like it. Like, yeah, and that's just like a basis, the metaphor. But I feel like just because you don't think something's as great or as profound as a lot of people do doesn't necessarily mean that it's not to other people. Like, you're like, just because you don't like the monkey because it's really silly and cartoonish doesn't mean that there isn't that underlying message of understanding how to grieve and like how to heal through the process, the whole death process. Like, there's more to the movie than you may initially think, and people just don't think about it as much as they should.
Yeah. I think this is a great horror comedy mix. I think.
Yeah.
That really does work, and I think it's a great example, as you were saying, is about like, I think more people should be willing to, I guess, put themselves out there for the things they want to see rather than like waiting for the world to kind of make it for them. Yeah. A lot of people do that. They're like, somebody needs it. Like my uncle, he wrote a book. And he said, he was like, I told myself I was going to wait like 6 months, and if nobody wrote this book, I was going to write it. And then that's what he did.
Yeah.
He was like, nobody's talking about this, and I need to write this book. The book's about Lil Wayne lyrics. But he was like, nobody's talking about how good these lyrics are, and and seeing them in this very specific way of how I admire them. And so he wrote this book about it, and Lil Wayne read the book and thought it was good.
That's cool.
Which is cool. But I take that, and I think about that a lot, because I'm like, whenever I'm making my like 30th fucking video on like some specific aspect of trap or whatever movie I like, I'm just like, nobody cares about this. Nobody wants to, like, there's literally nobody that's like scrolling through being like, I hope someone talks about this aspect of this one movie from last year. But I'm just thinking, but I need to put this video needs to exist because I wish I could see it. Yeah. Like, I wish somebody would say this thing, so that's, sometimes that's why we do certain episodes on here. Like, we're like, no, we need to talk about this because a lot of people are saying this and we're not hearing enough of this, so we really want to kind of shift the focus a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's not you don't get movies like The Monkey every 2 seconds, in the theater. Like,
it is a pretty unique movie in the fact that it's so silly and yet it's also a horror movie, and I just feel like we don't get a lot of like horror comedies in this type of style.
That are this cartoony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much.
So,
if you want an action movie that's kind of like this, Sisu 2. Watch that one. Watch that movie. That movie's incredible.
Film. Great film. That is like hell yeah from start to finish. So good. Anyway, here's a movie that's a little more a little more typical, unfortunately. A little more like, I guess, cut and dry. Keeper. I think
Keeper's a funny title for the movie because it reminds me of that joke that anybody can make. It's like, Keeper? I hardly know her.
I feel like that's literally
the epitome of the movie.
That's the plot of the movie. He didn't write this movie, so I guess I'm less compelled to try to throw a personal spin on it for him and be like, maybe he was going for this, but maybe there's something that drew him to the project. Obviously,
if you're making 3 movies in the span of less than 2 years, I don't think you're gonna write 3 scripts in that amount of time. Yeah. So I'm sure there was like, okay, so I need a third
unless
movie.
You just had them ready to go.
Yeah. So I need a movie. And he probably just liked the script from The Keeper, and he's like, I could make this pretty easily on an easy budget. It's one location the entire time, I believe. Yeah.
for the most
other than
part.
other than like some of the montages at the beginning, but it's a very easy movie to make. It's technically, it has an interesting premise. I do like what the movie seems to be saying, and like how I do like the writing of it. I just feel like this movie was not meant for Osgood Perkins to direct.
No, because I think the themes that it's getting at are quite. You could take them very seriously, and the slow burn kind of build to a reveal that's. I mean, the reveal is cool but it's cool in the way where you're like, oh, finally, something. I'm learning what's going on. Because otherwise, I mean, it has fun moments. It has tension. I think it has great visuals the same way as his other movies. And I think it also has, like, just some really, really great, like, little characters in it. There's this part where there's a woman and then there's, like, a smaller version of the same woman next to her. And I thought that was so...
like a nightmare.
That was so awesome. Like, and also the creatures in this movie, great. I love the creatures. I love the way they look.
Whenever the movie gets weird, that's when it's
like okay.
At its best.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get weird enough.
There's too much in between, and there's also a lot. There's a part where a guy's got his face pressed up against the door and he's talking. I love that part. That's so funny. Like, that's the kind of stuff that is subtly funny. Like, you could be easily thrown off by that. Like, people could reject that as being like, oh, this is supposed to be a scary movie, and that's just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
That's not intense. But it's like, no, that's hilarious, and he knows that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's the thing. Osgood Perkins would be a great just comedy director. And he should be in his movies more often, too. Like, in The Monkey, he plays a character in The Monkey, but he's, like, one of the best parts because he's so funny and great as an actor and as a comedic actor. And... That's the thing with Keeper and even like Longlegs is that you go in thinking, oh, scary, prestigious, elevated horror type movie, and then you get something so much sillier and like so unserious, and it's like you wish there was something more to it. Or if it is going to be this silly, unserious movie, it shouldn't present itself as being more important than it is.
I think he's trying to maybe execute like an interesting juxtaposition between
That's
style
possible,
and tone,
I've been thinking of that.
It doesn't always work.
It doesn't really work that well. Also, there's a lot of strange stuff with this movie. This movie is actually really, really interesting to me because even though I don't love it, there's a lot of really strange and weird choices that are made. Like, for instance, what's his name? Rosif from Sutherland?
The guy?
I
don't know his name. But
that's the son of Donald Sutherland. Another Nepo baby.
Wait, really?
Movie. Yeah.
That's Kiefer's brother?
Half brother, I believe.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But his lines and his, I don't know if it's ADR or looping, he sounds crazy in this movie. Did you notice that?
I thought the same shit. I was watching it and I was like, I love her performance. Not sure about this guy.
Yeah.
Like the whole time.
I don't know what is up with how he was directed or like whether or not he was, because I don't know, it was with the audio. It was either like his looping or they...
No. I saw it at a different theater than you, bro. Like, I felt the same way.
Yeah, I don't know if that was intentional or not. Maybe it's to make him... maybe they did that on purpose to showcase that he's not really normal. Maybe because he's technically... Again, we're spoiling this. He's technically like hundreds of years old. And like his voice maybe like modulates different because of that.
I was thinking that too. Like there's something strange about him.
But he also has like a weird accent. Like it just goes in weird places. Like sometimes I'm like, is that New York? Is that Canadian? What's happening?
Yeah, maybe it's showing he's been to a lot of places for long periods of time.
Maybe.
I don't know.
And I actually really like it, but it also, I don't know how to feel about it as well because I'm not the biggest fan of the character itself.
Yeah. Okay, so basically what happens in this movie, I mean, you've probably seen it if you're listening, but I think this is a metaphor for like being unfaithful in a relationship, or I guess hiding something from your partner. But like, I feel like it's definitely like the unfaithful angle makes sense to me because the last line of the movie is like, I bet you say that to all the girls.
Yeah.
When he says, "Oh, but you were the one I loved. You're the only one I loved." There's this like idea that like I think guys like they try to like stay youthful by being players, by picking up all sorts of different women, by never settling down, and that's the irony of it being called keeper.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you he doesn't want to grow old with anyone.
Yeah.
He just wants to kind of stay young, and his, I guess, is it his cousin, his brother, his friend?
They say it's his cousin.
Yeah, the other guy who's also doing the same thing, like kind of has this frat energy to him.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the idea, is like it's more obvious with that character, and I think the film is trying to point at this kind of guy, which is not so obvious, and on the surface seems like he's a good guy, respectable job, he's a doctor, but same tendencies underneath, right? And I think there's a lot of guys like that kind of put on this idea of being like really like they have this wealth and this thing to like draw people in, but really they're
the one thing that's keeping them youthful is the idea that they could pull.
Right, basically. And I think it's kind of he has like this cabin and this really nice job, and so it's like this draw. He's like, yeah, let's go to my cabin and like everything, but then like they get there and she's just like, I don't really know this guy. Like, like, do
Even
I really know this guy?
They've known each other for a year.
Yeah, but she starts to question it once they're back there, because I think I don't know, maybe he did stick with her for too long.
Yeah.
And that was the idea. Like maybe he finally kind of was just like, okay, I have to get rid of you.
Yeah. But that's the thing about his character, is that he's so selfish with wanting to be young that he doesn't want the life of growing old with someone. And I think that's kind of the great beauty of growing old, is that if you grow old with someone, that's kind of the kind of that pure love where it's like, it's not going to last forever, but that's why every moment that happens is great. But if it's the opposite, if you live forever, then what is the point of
I think anything? The idea too is that I think the tragedy of it is, and you could maybe draw a parallel to real life with this, where he is actually physically now incapable of doing that, because if he were to not continue to feed the creatures, he would not be alive anymore. He would instantly, the age would catch up with him, right?
That is true.
So I think it's kind of this idea that guys dig themselves these holes, and then they kind of
until it's too late.
Yeah, and then they can't do. So then it's like he does maybe he does love her, and he just now is in a position where he can't even do anything. Now he has to like hurt himself to do it. He might as well just let himself grow old at that point. But he refuses to do that. I think he's too scared. And I do love that. I do understand that she looks like the woman who gave birth to the creatures, and that's probably why the creatures accept her at the end and decide to let her stay. And that's another way it could be called keeper, is that they keep her, and they take her in.
Keep her, but they barely know her.
Yeah. But I guess I kind of don't understand what the idea behind that is like, maybe it's just supposed to be coincidence, or maybe she's some kind of reincarnation. Maybe it's the metaphor for like, this always catches up with you, like your sins catch up with you, like it's literally the same the form of the person that you wronged, and now it's coming back to haunt you, right? Like the creatures kept him alive long enough for that to happen, in a way. So it's interesting. I feel like it's almost a movie I would want to watch again to kind of get all the context from the get-go. Yeah. But I also don't know if I would really take the time to sit through it again in the theater, at least. Yeah.
I love the beginning of it, like just the montage of seeing all the girls that he's been with, and
very visceral.
And that's the thing with his movies. His movies just start off so well, and then they just go into something completely different.
The Monkey's the only one where the promise of the beginning is kind of followed through the whole thing.
A little bit. It's, again, and we were talking about this beforehand, that even with the monkey, all of his movies kind of start off in one way, and then it's something like it's not exactly the movie that you would assume when the movie starts off. For instance, in the monkey, Adam Scott, right? He's trying to get rid of the monkey, and then by doing that, it leads to some dude's death, the guy that he's trying to sell the monkey to. And you would assume that's the entire movie, is that they're trying to get rid of this monkey constantly and people keep dying from it. But that's not the movie. The movie's actually, in a way, the opposite. And the same thing with Longlegs.
Well, in a way, the movie is starting by showing how people want to escape death, get rid of it, avoid it. And the movie is about the confrontation with death and the acceptance of the inevitability of death. And also the kind of anomaly of death as well.
Yeah, and that's why The Monkey is the best movie that he's done. But also, you do also get a little bit of the sense of how death kind of takes form in itself, and it's just so random and crazy. But even with Longlegs, I love the beginning of Longlegs, and then you have him like duck down, and it's Longlegs, and it's really scary, and it's like, oh my god, who is this guy? This is like, who's this? And he's talking to children. It's really scary, and like
it's almost like he's almost a red herring in the movie.
And then you go through it, and it's not as scary as honestly you would think. Even though it is a really brutal movie, like there's a lot of like the ideas of like children dying and families killing each other and whatnot, but it's also kind of like silly in a way too. Like the gruesomeness is almost exaggerated, and that's kind of the thing with all of his movies, is the brutalness and the gruesomeness is kind of exaggerated to the point where it's not like you can't look at it and be like, oh, that's something that would actually happen. It's like, no, it's a style thing, which is fine. Yeah, I think, but I think in other people's eyes, it could probably be a bit too much or not enough in a sense.
I also love when like the acting style as well, how that can be exaggerated sometimes. Yeah. Like in Keeper, when he says you're gonna die and she cries, like she breaks down. I can't even mimic it. Like it's
so good,
visceral the way that she does that.
And I almost think it's too good for that movie. And I watched it with our roommate Reed, and he was like, he said that she was overacting, and I'm like, I don't think she's overacting. I think she's acting fine. I just think that the movie isn't living up to her acting. Like, I feel like
I think the point is, I think he likes that exaggeration. I think he kind of likes, like, it feels like intentionally directed that way.
Yeah, no, I think it is too. But
the movie doesn't live up to it.
Yeah, the criticism is that she's overacting because the movie doesn't live up to her acting.
So it's not that she's overacting; it's that she's acting.
She's acting great.
She's acting great, and the movie just can't catch up to her.
Yeah, the movie isn't that great, but I think she's fantastic. She's so good in it. That's I love her. Honestly, the saving grace of the movie is that she's so.
It's her great. And it's the guys, the creepy guys.
Yeah.
Another the weird guys.
Big criticism is that she's really stupid for eating the cake and just kind of going along, even though there's just red flags
I think it
everywhere.
Has to do with, I guess, her connection to the girl of the past, and also maybe it's like delicious. Who fucking knows?
Well,
they say it tastes like shit, but it sounds like sarcasm.
No, well,
I think it's the sort of thing where you eat it and then it tastes like shit, and you say that, but then like it like has a draw. I think it latches onto you.
I don't know. I mean, isn't it just supposed to just knock her out, but it didn't?
I thought he said
it was supposed to like knock her out.
Maybe this is like her being special. Yeah. I don't know. That's the thing. I need to watch it again.
Well, the creatures make it, don't they?
Do they? Maybe.
I think so.
Maybe it's like, okay, maybe this is how it is, right? Maybe they, because she's connected to their mother in some way, she's able to eat it, and it doesn't
affect her. Yeah.
It almost doesn't have the effect on her, and maybe it kind of had an effect that helped her survive her encounter with them. Like they could sense on her that there was something different. Also, or they're like, oh, you didn't get knocked out by the whatever. Anyway,
see, this is also, sorry to cut you out. This is also the problem. See, we've only seen the movie once, and we're still like kind of figuring it out. And that's not what people do. They see a movie
No,
once.
they don't.
They see a movie once and they're automatically like, "Oh, it's bad because of this, this, and this," because they're not.
They're like, "Why didn't this immediately make sense?"
Yeah.
It's like, let's process this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So, well, here's the thing. I think her connection to the woman of the past is kind of she liberates the creatures because I think she shows them that there's another option, that they can turn against him. Because doesn't he make a metaphor like the fish on the hook, like, "Oh, I'll grant you a wish if you let me off the hook." But he's like, "Why doesn't it just wish to be off the hook?" And it's like the fish knows it's nothing but a fish, or something like that. And I think that's obviously a metaphor for those creatures who kind of grant him eternal life because they are like, "Oh, I'll grant you eternal life if you just don't." I guess if you just.
I think it's also a metaphor of being in a relationship where it's like, you shouldn't be in this relationship, and yet you still are. You keep being fed these red flags, but you still continue to go forward with it. And
you don't see that there's another path for you. Yeah, exactly. That could very well. I mean, Keeper goes with that as well. Like, I think that also does make a lot of sense. It's like, she kind of sees all these issues, and you just keep benefit of the doubt over and over and over again. I mean, I know people that have done that, and that does, I think, make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I did, and that's the thing with this movie. It's like there's a lot of pretty great stuff in it. It just doesn't really come together in the end all too well. And the pacing's a bit iffy here and there.
It just feels like kind of like it's not gonna. Ironically, Keeper doesn't stick with you.
Yeah.
It just kind of just like, it's whatever. It's fine. I like it just fine. I just think it's like a movie I'll watch once in the theater. Maybe I'll give it another shot just to understand some of these confusing parts.
Whenever Osgood comes out with his next movie, I think young person.
Yeah, maybe we'll give it another revisit then. But I mean, overall, 3 movies that are. Oh, you know what? We should just mention this kind of could be a metaphor for the nepotism of him.
Yeah.
The way that his style and his comedy, they kind of counter each other.
Yeah, that was my thing when I was thinking about these movies, is that I don't know if they're a metaphor for nepotism as much as the nepotism kind of coming out of Osgood Perkins, because there is that prestige to his name, that feeling that he, since his father was so prominent as like a horror figure with Psycho and his other movies, that Osgood Perkins would also kind of follow in that steps, but as a director, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, obviously nepotism is kind of unfair. You're kind of pushing this idea and this career onto Osgood Perkins, when really he probably is completely different and wants to do his own thing and wants to be sillier and weirder and just off kilter. And
you can see that in the marketing,
and you could see that in the marketing. You could see that he's trying not to follow in his father's footsteps in a way. He's trying to subvert what people are assuming of him, and in some ways I think that's really cool. But in other ways, I think there's a little bit of a nihilism there,
his movies do have nihilism.
Yeah, and a bit of an elitist isms there, where it's like, I'm Osgood Perkins, I could do this because I'm Osgood Perkins.
And I think with the marketing, they're like, "Oh, Osgood Perkins," like all over the marketing, and I think perhaps that's what the marketing's trying to leverage, is who he is.
Yeah.
And so that's maybe why the marketing, I guess, makes these things feel a little more important, when really I think these movies casually are just fine all the way through. I like The Monkey more than the others. Obviously, I think we have the same ranking: The Monkey, Longlegs, Keeper.
Yeah.
And I think besides the top 2 being flipped, that's going to be most people's ranking. It's just Longlegs, The Monkey, Keeper.
Yeah.
I feel like that. Well, actually, that's not necessarily true. I think Keeper and the Monkey are interchangeable for most people.
Yeah, it just feels like there's been diminishing returns for a lot of people in terms of this kind of, I guess, neon trilogy that he has.
Yeah,
where it's like it's almost like he pitched Longlegs, and then Neon was like, or maybe he was like, if I could do this, then I could also do this, and they were like, okay, we'll see what happens. And because of the success of Longlegs, he was able to really push out those other two movies really fast and really cheap. But because it's fast and cheap, you kind of lose a bit more of that substance, you know?
Right. Well, I will definitely continue to be curious about Osgood Perkins, continue to watch his movies, and just try and figure out, maybe in hindsight, these some of these kinks will kind of make more sense to me as he continues to put out work.
I do feel like as time goes by, if people become more understanding of his style and what he's really doing, I think they'll definitely grow into a bigger kind of cult base and of people that really like his stuff over the years.
Yeah,
and I think that'll be cool. There was actually this funny, I think it was a Letterboxd review where it said, Osgood Perkins fans, he's done it again, and then Osgood Perkins haters, he's done it again. It's like, wherever you are on the whether you like him or dislike him, his stuff is always gonna speak to the people that really do like his stuff. And if you don't like his stuff, then you're probably just not gonna like his stuff. And that's
to me, it is ultimately, I think broadly, that's how film should be. It's like the artist is making the art that they want to make. People that like it. People that don't. Not everything has to be this like fucking universally acclaimed thing. And when people hate this guy's stuff, it's like, then they just want to push that onto everybody. Hey, yeah, the monkey is terrible. The editing is terrible. You have to, like, it's like people have an itch to like prove that their opinion has objective merit.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to. You have to be satisfied with the fact that the way you feel about something is just the way you feel about it. And yes, you can bond with those that feel the same way. You can maybe discuss with those that don't feel the same way, but not with the under the guise of like, no, I'm right, you need to understand this. The way I see it, I think, is it's all populated by like the subconscious.
Yeah.
Like that's what art is. So like when you watch a movie that speaks to you, it's because of like everything that's within you as well. So therefore, that's your foundation, and it comes from you specifically.
Yeah.
All of your tastes, interests, experiences, morals, thoughts, everything, it kind of comes from you. So therefore, your foundation for craving more understanding of a movie, or more, I guess, value out of the movie and enjoying it, comes from that. So it just works in both ways.
Yeah, everybody has different life experiences, and whatever whatever you take, and whatever you don't, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, Keeper's a movie with a woman protagonist about a woman's experience in a relationship where she's not being heard or treated properly.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of
There's probably a lot of women that could watch that movie and heavily relate to it. Maybe it even explores it in such a specific way that just speaks so specifically to a woman's experience, and that becomes like her favorite movie of all time, because it's this thing in the world that she can show other people and be like, here's how I feel.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
And that's really awesome. And anyone could feel that way about any of these movies. And I think that ultimately, at least with the monkey especially, that's what Osgood's doing, is he's kind of putting out, he's like, this is how death feels to me. This is how this looks to me. And so, when you look at it like that, it's really hard to be like, oh, this is terrible, and not just, oh, this isn't for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what he comes out with next. It's been really interesting that he's done this just back to back to back really fast, and I'm just curious how people will see his career in the long run.
Yeah. Well, how it'll look in like 10 years, who knows? But that was these three films. Interesting set of movies. Let us know what you think of them. What is your favorite? Give us your ranking, honestly. Do you like Osgood? Do you not? Let us know what you think.
I want to meet someone who's like Keeper's the best, Monkey's the second, and I don't
Longlegs the worst. Yeah, if you are that person, if your ranking goes Keeper, the Monkey, Longlegs, please leave a comment. We want to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm interested.
Yeah, we're not mean. We're really nice, actually. Yeah. But anything else you want to say about these films?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Pretty
easy.
Well,
leave us a like, comment, follow us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Whatever you're listening on, go to the other one, give us a follow, rate the podcast, do all that stuff, share it with your friends. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. I've been Peyton.
And I'm Adrian.
And we'll see you next time on the Apple Box.